Welcome, welcome, everybody. Hello, hi, everybody. Always exciting to have everybody online. Thank you for joining our Lions Den series. Thank you, everybody. All right, thank you, everybody, for joining the Lions Den today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining, folks. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody. Let's give everybody else another 2 minutes and we will get started. Do me a favor, text everyone and let them know that we are live. We are live. We are live. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all for taking the time to join on a weekend on a midweek like this. So thank you, everybody, for making up the time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all. All right. Once again, thank you. Thank you all for making time on a weekday, midweek, and noon today. So today we have some of our folks joining for the Lions Den. It's going to be an exciting one. The roles I see are very intriguing, in my opinion. And this is the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Typically, what we do is simple. We try to leverage each other, you and I, to help our folks to be successful. So what I like to do, if you don't mind, can you just chat? Just say I, thank you, whatever. Just chat. So because I'll be relying on your chat a lot to ask people question. And don't worry, they can't see it except I allowed people to see it. But I need you badly to help me. Really, it's a collaborative effort. So when our folks are doing interview, I want you to assess them too, ask them some questions, tell me things you feel I should ask them. And when I ask you to give feedback, please give them feedback. And, ladies and gentlemen, this is a safe space, healthy environment. We just want to support our team together. It's very collaborative. So here's the deal, I bring them on board. Once they come on board, the roles have already been summarized. Some I'll give them my thoughts, then I put them in the lions den. We ask them questions. At that point, I rely on you a lot to help me to also ask them a lot of questions. Okay. So in case I miss some things or I'm not looking at it from a right perspective from your opinion, text me and say, just chat and say, hey, ask them this question, let them elaborate on this. Then at the end of the day, you would have to also grade them and say, okay, would you hire this person? Now, remember again, we don't take things personal here. All right, at the Lions Den here, if we give you 5/10, you've done fantastic. Okay. Most of our folks will be 4 or 5. Now, it doesn't mean it's a reflection on you, but we are just extremely conservative. And the reason is we want to make sure our folks go bring the offer. So we're not going to be nice to you. We're going to be brutal. Okay. Let's be brutal internally so that when you're out there, in case anybody asks you crazy questions, at least we've asked you those crazy questions already and you're mentally prepared. Let me give you the common trend. For example, somebody will say, can you look straight at the camera? Can you reduce your hem? Can you go straight to the question? So those are the things. Then you can ask, can you put some more detail into this answer? Can you ask relevant questions at the end of the interview? So give me some pointers. So I rely on you, our community, to make them successful. So let's give them a round of applause. All right. So we have 3 people today coming in. It's quite exciting. And for the folks, no pressure, okay? Let's just have fun. Let's just enjoy ourselves together and make the best out of this opportunity. So I'm going to start with the first person today. The first person we are bringing on board is, let's give it up for Mr. Kenny in the house. All right. Thank you so much, Kenny. How are you, sir? Um, I think can you unmute yourself? Yeah, I can hear you
Sorry
now.
about that. Yeah, thank you very, very much for your time. Thank you.
All right, excellent, excellent. And you know the drill already, Kenny. So in a few minutes, I will quickly run through the specific role, and I will share my screen, and let me show the team what the role is about. Then we just jump into it straight up. And everybody, please remember again, the goal for us is just to make sure we make our team successful at the end of the day. We just want to get the jobs. That's all we care about, to be honest. We just want to get the offers, okay? At the end of the day, we're not here to say anything. We're not of the illusion anything is guaranteed, right? We know that we still need to put the work, and that's why we're doing this. We just want to make sure we do our part, make ourselves, give ourselves a chance to be successful at the minimum. Okay, that's what we're doing. All right, let's start with the first one. And Kenny, I'll just tell you what I think about this role. All right. And
Sure.
please, everyone on the call, as I talk about this role, show you this role, start thinking of areas you can potentially ask questions. Type those questions for me. I'll pull some of those and leverage them and ask him also. Okay. So, risk register analyst is your role. Remember again, as a team, always remember anytime we talk about risk in general, there's always going to be a catalog of risk where we track all our risk. Big organization would have a huge risk registry, right? Where they keep all their risk, where they have like a life cycle of the risk. If the risk is going to be accepted, if it's going to be something they are mitigating, if it's going to be transferred, they would have an inventory of those risks in general, right? And they keep record of the risk. They would make sure the record is available for their external auditors, internal auditors, any stakeholder, they will be able to provide that information to them. So risk register analyst, really your role will entail a lot of monitoring of those risks. Now, let's put it in perspective. Smaller organization can get away with it because maybe there's not a whole lot of risk they're tracking. Imagine you having a huge organization that has 100,000 employee, 50,000 employee. Now it's changing the game. Now it means it's going to be much more robust and a lot of people will be involved. The second one talks about policy exception analyst. Sometimes there will be times where you would have certain policy where we create exception, meaning that we know that the risk is there, but we are making exception for you. Now, it requires a lot of verification, documentation, approvals to get into that point of making exception, right? So some people, their role is to go in there, analyze those exceptions, understand the risk around those exceptions, make sure the documentation around those exceptions have been clearly created, and they also want you to know NIST 853 guideline at the minimum. So those are things they also require you to understand. Of course, proficiency in using Office tools. I believe most of us on this call would know how to use those basic tools. Now, some of your scope of work when you are hired will include you're going to be documenting a lot. You're going to be doing monitoring of the information and data registry of the risk. You're going to be doing data entry at some point, maintaining the risk exceptions. So these are just things expected for this particular role. What is going to be your final deliverable? Now, one thing that out there that I think we should be a little bit careful, and talk to you about that later, is they want somebody that also understands Power BI, right? It's pretty much like a report tool, and the good thing about this, don't stress it. That's the least of my worry. We can just quickly go Google that and see how to do basic use of Power BI. Now, you don't have to be a Power BI administrator, right? It's just to be able to pull report and make basic report. The same thing for Tableau. If you're on this call, I'll tell you for a fact, Tableau, Power BI are not complex tools to learn. Now, if you are creating much more robust um, data or reports, that's a different conversation. But the basic use is not complex, right? To use it for basic use. So I would say personally, yes, say yes, you have a knowledge of it. You are not an admin in Power BI, you're not a developer in it, but you can use the basic tool in general. Okay. So we can quickly Google that or have a YouTube to just understand the basic of Power BI. So at least let's get over the hump. All right. Okay. Tell me about yourself. Like always, I need you to be strong on your knowledge of NIST 853 to understand the controls there because that's what they requested. Talk about some project and how your project impacted the business. And this goes to everybody. At the end of the day, whatever you're talking about, never forget to tie it to business case. It doesn't matter your technical skills and how savvy you are. I like people that are equally knowledgeable and understand how what they do ties and impact the business. Very important, right? Because think about it like yourself too. If you are people that don't understand your business, the gap will show. So I need someone that really understands the business and ties it together also. Okay. So these are two examples I gave. I'm sure you would have taken a look at it also. So I'll leave that for now. Then questions after. I mean, well, these are some past projects I kind of analyzed to say quantifiable impact, qualitative impact that you made. I talked about you leading a project to improve risk notification and response process within your organization. That's a big deal for most business, right? It's not just having risk, but how soon do we respond and mitigate those risks? Let's take it again. Risk is always going to be there. First, how do we quickly identify those risks and track them and potentially mitigate them? Because it's going to be an ever evolving process, right? Risk is not just going to be static, it's going to be evolving all the time. So we know that. The other thing talks about quantifiable impact in terms of what impact did you make that I can measure. In this case, you said security incidents were reduced by 20% as a result of you constantly monitoring the risk, categorizing the risk within your business. That is a big deal. Remember, again, we are talking at times of Fortune 100, Fortune 200 companies. Some of them are over 10,000 employees. So, whatever you do to reduce their risk, even at 1%, is immediately significant. So, it's a big deal. So, it's a win for you. Let's put it that way. Okay. All right. So, do you have questions for me? I expect you at the minimum ask questions that will make me as a leader to think and say, okay, how does this align in the long term to the mission of the organization at the minimum? How does this help us in terms of collaboration with other stakeholders within your organization? So this is cheat sheet for you. Take your time, use them as needed. All right. So that's the quick snapshot, all right, of what I think the role would be. And now it's going to be your show, sir. All right, cool. So now the normal drill, I'll just jump in, start asking you questions. And now, Tim, this is our show now, right? So now I want us to be a little bit brutal right now, right? So we're gonna put Mr. Kenny on the spotlight. So right now, this is Ken's show. All right. So what we expect is, the normal question is, okay, walk me through your resume. What have you done? To me, for everybody on this call, this is the slam dunk question. If I ask you, walk me through your resume, what have you done? I'm not telling you to just tell me some fancy stuff. Tie your experience and what you've done to the role itself. So if it's a risk register role, I need you to talk about risk, how you mitigated stuff. So just take me along the journey. Make the story clear and precise. All right. Okay, that's the cheat sheet for now. Let's put you on the spotlight. And folks, please, as Kenny gets into the mood and start addressing stuff, starts you know putting stuff. Somebody said I am getting a blurry screen. All right, I like some questions already, so I'm seeing some questions. But okay, let's put him. I like it, guys. Start throwing questions you think we should ask him. I'm seeing some already. I like it. Okay, lovely, lovely. Okay, all right. So, all right, let's have fun, Kenny. All right. So, Kenny, I saw your resume online. I think it might be a fit for one of our role. I would like you to walk me through your experience and tell me what you've done in the past.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time and for this opportunity. As you know, my name is Kenny Olatunji, and I'm here to interview for the role of the Risk Register Analyst within your organization. And I'm about to tell you about myself. And I suspect you're going to have some questions for me thereafter, and I'll be very happy to answer those questions for you. Now, as an experienced GRC and cybersecurity analyst with a diverse background spanning industries such as manufacturing, finance, and IT, I believe I bring a wealth of experience to the role of a risk register analyst to the organization. My career journey has been defined by relentless commitment to enhancing risk management and ensuring the highest levels of security assurance. One of my core strengths lies in my proficiency and ability to work with root cause analysis methodologies to pinpoint the underlying drivers of risks. Throughout my career, I've implemented corrective and preventive actions to mitigate risks, thereby fortifying organizational security. My dedication to staying at the forefront of industry trends and best practices has consistently translated into effective risk reduction strategies and regulatory compliance. My expertise also extends to cloud security with a particular focus on the AWS platform. I possess an in-depth understanding of crucial AWS controls, including IAM, which is Identity and Access Management, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, which is the VPC, security groups, NACLs, which is translated into Network Access Control List, and web application firewalls such as Palo Alto. This knowledge equips me to navigate the complexities of cloud security, ensuring data integrity and regulatory adherence. Now, I have also fortified my qualifications with certifications such as Certified Safe 5 Scrum Master and Professional Scrum Master 1. Additionally, I'm actively pursuing the Certified Information Systems Auditor, CISA, to further enhance my ability and expertise within the risk assessment and compliance. My key skills also encompass a robust analytical acumen, proficiency in compliance assessment, and a deep knowledge of regulatory frameworks such as NIST, Cybersecurity Framework, ISO 27001, HIPAA, PCI DSS, and GDPR, which is a European framework format. I bring critical thinking, organizational ability, proficiency in GRC software such as Risk Rhino. I'm also able to use software such as SharePoint, Office 365 Suite, and Power BI. In my previous roles, such as my recent engagement as a process improvement analyst with MBA Growth Partners, I've demonstrated my ability to conduct thorough risk assessment, ensure compliance, and facilitate process optimization. Additionally, my experience as a GRC analyst at ePanzer and compliance analyst at Altimetric Solutions underscores my proficiency in risk identification, triage, issue management, and compliance program development. Now, to conclude, my holistic expertise in GRC, cybersecurity, and risk mitigation, combined with my dedication to continuous improvement, positions me, I believe, as an asset for the organization. I'm also excited to contribute my skills and experience to support the risk management initiative and drive excellence in compliance and security.
Thank you so much, Kenny. If you don't mind, can you walk me through how you typically maintain your organization risk register? How do you maintain it? What's the strategy for your organization?
So the strategy behind that is that because I get a lot of notifications from different sources, it could be internal auditors, it could come from external auditors, it could come from other GRC members, it could also come from departments within the organizations and also from auditors. So the first thing I do once I get those notifications is to identify who are the actual actors within that notification. If I see names, if I see publications or maybe documentation within the notification, just to familiarize myself with those people that are in that notification. Once I get that, I will then review the notification. I then start to gather data or information that I need to be able to actually understand what that notification is talking about, what the threat is all about. I will gather all that information for myself. And once I gather all the information, I will start to put all that information in our log, in our database, in our register database. So I would make sure I describe it efficiently. and accurately, update it on a regular basis if I get other updates, and then start to talk to those people that were mentioned, whether in the email that I got, or whether in the notification that I received, or whether by talking to them. So as I said earlier on, these notifications come through different sources. So what I do is to talk to them, try and understand exactly what is going on within their department or
Okay.
within their
How
area.
do you typically handle risk escalation? So, you find a critical risk that you have to put in the registry, but it's critical to the business. How do you typically handle such an event?
I think essential one of the essential things to that is to communicate. Communication is very, very important. I need to communicate that to my line manager and or to my CISA. Once I get that, and then communicate that to the risk owners as well. Those who are working in that department where that risk was discovered, I will make sure I speak to them and also talk to them about the impact of the risk as well.
All right, got it. Okay, just walk me through in general from your experience. How do you typically define those inherent or residual risk within your business? What's how do you guys define inherent and residual risk within your organization right now?
Could you please elaborate a little bit more for me on that? What do you mean by inherent risks?
So within your business, those risks that are inherent. So different organizations have ways in which they calculate risk. Within your
Right.
organization, do you have a way you calculate your risk exposure in general, or is it using the vanilla calculation by your software or solution at the moment? In our organization, for example, we have a formula for calculation of what is residual risk, inherent risk, and the overall risk within our environment. How do you guys treat that in your business right now?
If I get your question correctly,
Yeah,
I believe you're talking about when you talk about inherent risk. I'm thinking you're talking about risks that may actually originate within the environment itself,
that is correct.
and
Yes.
external risks that are coming from outside the environment.
Yes.
Right. So inherent risk within the environment, we make sure there are some controls that are put in place that staff know about on a regular basis, and we also basically educate staff on a regular basis through emails and through an intranet that has been provided for staff, that all staff can go and actually watch videos or whatever it may be that the information that we want to pass through to them is. We
Got
send
it.
emails out that way. External threats within the organization comes in different forms, and they are non-relentless. They are relentless, if you like. And so what
Okay.
we do is to make sure that we get up to date on those threats on a regular basis, in fact, on a daily basis.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, just walk me through an incident whereby leadership or business stakeholders disagrees with proposed risk exception within your business.
Where leadership disagree with the proposed solution to the problem.
Yeah,
Is that what you mean?
it could be solution to mitigation to a risk or a risk exception in general. So let's say, within a business, you guys propose a risk exception, but a business unit propose a risk exception, but leadership disagrees with it. For example, within our organization, sometimes within certain business units, they don't agree that certain risk are actual risk to their organization. Because I'll give an example: change management. Certain organizations don't have solutions for change management, but they manually do it. So rather than giving them exceptions, they requested to have a policy exception, so that every audit period it will not be finding within the organization. So they sought an exception, but leadership within my organization disagrees and said, well, we cannot provide an exception for you based on this particular risk. So have you had such instances in the past where your own leadership disagrees with certain risk?
That honestly, that hasn't been an occurrence.
Okay.
To be honest with you, that hasn't been an occurrence. The only time that I can say that I experienced something of that sort is when we were working on the process flow of the last environment that I was in. They were trying to improve their process flow. And what we realized in that environment was that some of the state um, attorneys were not assistant state attorneys that were
Yeah.
doing similar jobs. They had in this environment, they had about 30 assistant state attorneys who work for the legal department within this particular organization, and they're all doing the same thing basically,
Okay.
but they're all doing it differently. So if you call assistant state attorney A, and ask them to take you through their process of what they do on a daily basis. They will take you through this rigmarole of steps and processes that they do or they follow to do their
Yeah.
job. And if you call assistant state attorney B doing the same thing, they will take you through a different process as well. But at the end of the day, they all arrive at the same junction. But the process that they use are totally different. And some of those
Okay.
processes are done outside the business. And
Okay.
and, and, and this is what and we proposed a solution where everyone does the same thing, goes through the same process, and that's the only sort of experience that I can tell you that I encountered.
Okay. Got it. Got it. All right. Let me also just to wrap this up a little bit. The other thing I wanted to kind of understand from you, if you don't mind shedding some additional light to this, is um, you mentioned earlier on that you had some, you've worked on a lot of risk in different domain areas. How do you identify and manage different dependencies and correlation among different risk within a risk register? So sometimes you might have dependencies. How do you juggle those dependencies around risk?
I think the NIST 853 framework provides um, uh, so for example, if you're dealing with some risk, there are risks that can also develop when you're trying to mitigate a particular risk, right? Now, I believe that the NIST 853 controls actually helps you in that regard to go and look at the fine letters behind those controls. And those are the controls that you use to mitigate those risks that may
Got it.
pop up.
Okay. So you rely mostly on 853 to help you to be consistent with the risk you identify.
Absolutely.
Okay. Got it. That's fair enough. All right. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes, I do. I do have questions for you. I wanted to find out first of all uh, what happened to the person in this role. Is this role has it been an old role that someone was working in before, and
Okay.
why did they leave? What is the
Got it.
reason why this role became vacant?
Okay. So for this particular role, I was the director, actually multitasking doing the same role. And at this point, we realize we've actually grown beyond that space. So we need a new person to fully dedicate themselves as a risk register analyst. So it's a new role at this
Okay,
point.
wonderful.
Sure.
If you don't mind, the last question that I have for you is what do I need to baseline myself on if I'm lucky enough to get this job? What are the things or the quick wins that you expect from me in the first 3 months straight away in this role?
I think it's simple for us. Immediately, we need someone that can keep an accurate inventory of our risk and immediately start reducing our risk exposure, mitigating the applicable risks that are required to be mitigated within the first 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. And our goal for this year is to get it down by 12%. If we can hit that goal, that is a win for us.
Okay,
Any other question?
that's about it. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, let's give it up for Mr. Kenny. All right, let's all right, let's chew Mr. Kenny up a little bit, all right? And as always, Kenny, we don't take things personal here, all right? We just eat each other, try to make us better. So, top on the list, I mean, let's talk about the amazing stuff. You are so clear, you articulate, you're very intellectual kind of person. You are taking your time. But one quick observation is it looks like you were reading, and that's one of the observation people have kind of said.
Okay.
So let me tell you one of the best way I think we can mitigate that quickly. It's number one, in the midst of it, throw in some little body language, kind of just say, so that it looks like you're just chatting, right? So then pause a little bit and ask, do you have any questions? Right? Don't make it too long because many times the first part people just want to see, don't make me be the one to cut in, kind of break it a little bit and say, "Hey, thank you, Bob. Do you have any questions so far?" Kind of make a light of it. Most times they'll say, "Oh no, please go ahead." So it becomes more conversational, make it more natural, right? So pause a little bit and say, hey, "Do you have any questions?" They'll probably say, "Oh no, continue." Then you continue, right? Because you're giving them that break. That okay, one, you're giving yourself a break to even pause. Secondly, you're giving them a break to say, "Okay, let me consume this first part." Then you kind of prepare your mind mentally. Okay, part two. So which is really good. The second thing I wanted to kind of talk about is when you get into your introduction, and this applies to all of us. I know a lot of us have done Scrum Master, we've done different certification and all that stuff. They know you have it. I'm not going to flaunt that at all. Just forget that lie for a second. And because if you open that up in my mind, you're making me think, oh, is he more of a scrum master? Is he more? Just leave that, let that go. Focus on the risk area, focus on your project, focus on the excitement of your project in that space. And honestly, you have a lot of rich content. I love your content. You have a good knowledge base of the topic itself. Now, don't make it overly winded. Don't make it too long. You must make it conversational. Pause a little bit so that people can digest it. Then you can measure if they are feeling you. You can also measure if you feel you need to add more layers to certain areas they're not sure about. So kind of use that as your own guide to pilot the conversation. Okay. Let me see some other good questions. And please, ladies and gentlemen, some of you posted some things. If I ask everything, we are not going to be able to get to the next people. But let me just summarize a few of them. Thank you so much, Yetunde. Thank you, Tommy, Mesh. You guys are awesome. Let's see. Somebody said, if this is not on-site, hiring manager may retire and tell you to stop reading your. I like that. So that's a comment we gave him already. Somebody said it's not communicating. Okay, another thing, good one. Thank you, Vic. Please eye contact. Okay, especially when you want to say any questions, look straight in the camera and just say, just smile. Then another thing, smile a little bit. Try and smile, sir. Please smile, smile, smile. Let's see. Try it now. Uh-huh.
It's a serious situation.
All right, just smile.
Okay.
I mean, make it, force the smile. Now, some of us are not natural smilers. Okay, just force it and make it look okay. Hey, do you have questions?
All
When we
right.
get the offer, we may not smile
No,
to
I get
anybody
your
again,
point.
but
I get your point. Absolutely important. Yeah.
all right, let's make sure we smile. Let's try another one here. You guys are awesome. Thank you for this feedback. Let me see. Let's see another one. Okay, the same thing. This time, nice point, but need to summarize. Okay, okay. The first, I think we addressed that. The first introduction, it was amazing. I love it. Prepare an abridged version of it, a summarized version of it, so that it doesn't get too long. Then
Okay.
engage the people and say, hey, you have questions? Make it like you're chatting with them in Starbucks. That's the way I look at it, really.
Okay.
I mean, most leadership role anyway, it's you get your offer in Starbucks, really. You just talk, they ask, hey, director role, VP role, you guys meet in Starbucks, you chat. So it's a chat. It's not a big deal. You're an experienced person by just chatting. And honestly, remember, don't forget, you are also interviewing them. Some of them are, yeah, I get it. We just want a job, I get it. But honestly, in the scheme of things, we're also interviewing the company, right? So it's not like the chip is on them. It's mutual. So we're interviewing each other. I may not like you either. So somebody said, okay, rambling. I think we addressed that. So we just keep it concise. Let's say another one. Okay, somebody says the posture. Okay, now listen, ladies and gentlemen, let me sneak this in. This is very important. Our world has changed. A lot of things are going to be on camera, on video, and all that stuff, right? I'm into content creation also. I have a studio, I have all that stuff. And it's important, for some of you that, you've seen. So you would notice, and let me just show you guys what I mean. So, for example, if you look at my studio right now, right, you can see by design, I made myself in the middle, right? I kind of create space because everything is video now, right? And virtual now. So we have no choice. Play the game, behave like a politician, and just frame yourself. If you can put some light to make you um to showcase you well, do it. If you don't have light, that's okay. If you can use background that'll make it a little bit more relaxed for you, do it. Then your facial expression, and that's what somebody said. The facial, so I agree with them because the facial expression just make it casual, relaxed, and relatable. That's play the game because it's going to be video they will use to make a decision now. It's not like any of us is flying to meet people one on one like before. Okay. So it's important we also know how to play with the optics of it. It's important, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, it's very important. Optics are important in communication video now because people just want to see somebody that they feel they can relate with. So I agree with that comment. Somebody said, put a pillow behind you to make you your shoulder broader. Okay, why not? That's a smart thing. I like that. That's a good comment, actually. So, yeah, you can't see me, but I have a pillow. Well, it's a I got it on Amazon. Something you can put on your back. So one, it will prevent backache for people that work on the computer, but it will give you like a frame that will not look like you're down.
Slouching. I see you're
Yeah, like
slouching.
sludging, exactly. So if you can do that, and that applies to everybody, please do it. Those are good feedback. I like that. Let's see another one. Let's see another one. I've been asked. Okay, okay. This is another good one. Somebody can ask you this good one. They could ask you, how do you keep yourself informed of the newer trend out there? Always say, you go to conferences. Everybody always say conference. Can we all type conference? Conference. We must always say conference. Conferences. You attend seminars. You follow podcasts on YouTube. You can find one or two. Somebody said Darkness Diaries and Cyberwire. Skillweed has one now. We're doing. You can use anyone. Just say, hey, you follow different conferences. All right, I have one of our mentors, Mama Nene. Okay, Nene said the room is dark, so preferably go to a place that is well lit, and that applies to everybody. Okay. Somebody said I cannot see his face. Yeah. So please make sure we do that. Every one of us, make sure there's light when you are doing these videos. We might think it's not important. Optics matters. Period. Things have changed. The landscape of interview has changed. People make decisions so quick, and they want you to be likable. So just play the game. Now, when you get the offer, you might you might decide to be a jerk. Don't be a jerk, but nobody cares at that point. But make sure we always just do the right thing to get the offer. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And any other question? Let's take the final one. Okay. Conference webinars. Okay. All right. Let's throw it back to you. Kenny, questions before we release you?
Are you asking me if I have any questions?
Yeah. Just general.
Yeah. Okay. So the bit that I'm concerned about is the one that they said it appeared as if I was reading. I was reading some of the stuff, but not all of them because I
Okay.
wrote, I worked on that. So
Okay.
some of them I crammed. So I just
Okay.
need one word to trigger what I'm going to say. So
Ah,
I looked at my paper to say, okay, this is the word I'm looking for.
got it.
And then it triggers other things that I wanted to say about it. But
Okay.
I
Got it.
take that on board,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. The nice thing about that, Kenny, those are easy fix. The
Right.
easy fix, in my opinion, is this. Like you said, we just get a sticky, put it somewhere. It will be your talking point, right? Then after each one, just calm, relax, go to the next one, which is great. Like I said, amazing. You are very intellectual. You're someone that I love to listen to, right? But I don't want to make it conversational. Just
Mhm,
pause
mhm.
and throw it to me back. You have any question? They say no. Then smile at that point. You have any questions? They'll say no. Okay. Then you move on, right? Somebody said invest in what do you call it? Ring lights. And this goes to everybody. Please, if you have time, if you have the bandwidth, invest in ring light. They are not expensive on Amazon, maybe $20, whatever. Just get a small one for lighting effect. I think it is worthwhile. All right, let's give Kenny his final grade. Mr. Kenny, don't worry, we're not going to tell the kiddos that daddy or mommy got this grade. All right, but we always like to give you our final score. Remember, we don't take it personal. If you get 5 in our Lions, then you are excellent. All right, I'm going to give you 4, Mr. Kenny. Let's give it up for Kenny, okay? Let's give it up for Kenny. All right. And the goal for us is at the end of the day, Kenny, I want you to just take it to another level entirely, break it down, and just go bring the offer. Amazing job, brother. Great job, sir. Thank you for joining us in the Lions Den. We'll bring you back. Somebody else, somebody else through before. Okay, we are aligned. Oh, excellent. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate you,
Thank you,
sir. Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Take care, Kenny. All right. Let's bring the next person. Let's bring the next person. All right, Muji, spotlight on you now. Says spotlight on you. Okay. So it's my delight also to bring one of our mentors. Muji is in the house. So the normal drill, I'll just quickly run down through the job itself, the role, what is required. Then we'll just jump in real quick. Okay. Let's see. All right. So for this particular role, it is okay. This is Moji. Is this you? Data analytics. Is that right? Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Okay, all right. So, all right, let's get to Moji real quick. Okay, excellent. All right. So let me just quickly talk about the role. What I think it's all about. Now, this is a little bit. One thing I don't discourage my team at all. If you believe in something, hey, I'm your fan. I will align with your belief and we just work on it together. All right. We don't play games small here. I just follow your belief and I'll do it. So we'll make it work. If you believe it, who am I to doubt it or second guess it? I'm not gonna do that. Okay. My first instinct was, ooh, all right, this is one of my crazy people that are out of their mind in a good way. She's applying for manager role, analytics, and all the good stuff. So highly commendable. Now, what would this job entail? It requires some element of data science, right? So when we talk about data science, and ladies and gentlemen, don't overstress, it's not a big deal. It's just saying, okay, now we would have some element of potentially feeding out of other sources. We might have machine learning involved, AI involved, huge big data involved. We might have ERPs, in this case, SAP involved. And because it's a utility company, in this case, there will be applicable regulation like next SIP potentially, right? They would have to do work around internal control assessment. So there will be continuous review and consistent oversight on your security controls all the time. In this case, you have to think about efficient ways of providing audits. In this case, they talk about data extraction script. Now, ladies and gentlemen, gone are the days we would worry too much about a script. To be honest, most of those scripts, you just run them, they are really automated. So it's not really complex. If that is what is required to do certain tasks, you are not the one writing the script from scratch most of the time. And even if you have to do that, I'm sure that's not part of the core role from what I saw here. Okay. They have a lot of emphasis on data. It's collaborative, the role itself. They want somebody to have some knowledge of Tableau and ACL, audit command language. SQL, SQL is simpler than, basic SQL. SQL is just structural query language, right? Select statements, right? So select star from employee name table. So it will just pull all the employee name. I might say select employee name making less than $50,000. So you can prompt the query now. That world is even reduced now. The prompting I was doing with SQL then, ChatGPT is doing it with basic English language now, right? So it's even way better, I think. So it's not really a complex thing. But anyway, that's the summary of the role. Moji, from what I saw, my summary of the role, looking at it, of course, they want someone with data science experience and background, blah, blah, blah. So that one is straightforward. But let's talk about the some of the things I felt we should just put in consideration in general. You have to be able to tell me how what you are doing right now applies to using some data analytics in auditing or in security controls. So you need to have some knowledge of potentially SQL, Python, and Tableau at the minimum. Okay. So just want to throw that out there. So that is something that they requested for. All right. Past project that I thought we can use to kind of play around this is you could talk about a system that helps to reduce vulnerability within your organization. And as a result of what you build in terms of your analysis, it reduces vulnerabilities by, let's say, 25%. Or let's say 8%, 10%, whatever the number is, right? Another qualitative one is just to say how your enhancement of the audit approach using analytics has helped to improve the overall landscape of the way you track risk. Let me give an example. If you tell me that all of us do all this risk assessment, we do risk tracking, like the previous interview, we had risk register. So, for example, you can tell me you develop a dashboard to summarize the risk register information. That is an immediate success, really, because what you did is just you just made it easy for management to make decision. So instead of manually tracking it, I created a dashboard using Tableau to track our risk register. That is amazing for leadership. Leadership likes that in general, right? So that's easy one. All right, just wanted to sneak that in there. And do you have questions for me? Definitely, you have to talk around, how data science team within that organization, how their broader analytics helps their audit approach in general within the business, because that seems to be what they are looking for. Then what's their culture in general in terms of innovation and continuous monitoring of the risk within the organization itself. So those are the things I feel we should put some emphasis in general. Let me pause if you have questions. Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. Okay. So this is your show now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, please let's start bombarding Sheung because we're going to get out on the spotlight now. So let's
I'm not
start
sure.
putting questions. Go ahead.
I'm not sure. I'm with you.
Okay. In a few minutes, so I'm just throwing it to everybody. Please start posting questions for me to ask Sheung also, so that we can help her to be much successful. Okay. So once you start, you guys just do your thing. All right. All right. It's your show now. Let's just get you on the spotlight, sis. It's your show. We are just here to support you. All right. Cool. All right, let's take it from here. All right. So I saw a resume online, Sheon, and I think you might be a fit for one of our role. We are looking for a data analytic manager that can come in to help us to automate some of our controls, apply data science to help us make our audit more efficient, our security controls more efficient. Can you walk me through your experience and some of the projects you've worked on?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. To tell you about myself, I'm a risk management professional and I've worked to help organizations to build resilient initiatives. I have over 15 years working experience in information security, and I've done it in the financial and consulting world where I work with many clients. During this time, I've developed deep understanding and of strategies and practices necessary to fortify organizations against various challenges related to security controls, business continuity, and risk management. My focus is control design and testing, looking at people, processes, and technology. And when we say technology, we're breaking it down to applications, to network, to data, and to assets. So I've worked extensively within the second and third line of defense. This role as an audit manager, it's going to be within the third line of defense, which requires that I provide independent assurance to the management on the effectiveness of internal controls and adherence to policies by both the second and first line of defense, and which means that I'll be acting in leadership role. As you can see from my resume, between 2020, 2011 and 2022, that was a time where all I did was to act in leadership roles. And there I provided strategic direction to the identification, evaluation, and analysis of risk to my organization. This experience have expanded my risk overview to include transaction bound controls, operational risk, financial and regulatory risk and controls. So if I may say, I'll say that's my past in a nutshell.
Okay.
So now coming to the future, I'll say with the organization, when I looked at the JD that was posted, I was thrilled and excited because when I saw the requirements, I saw that one of the requirements is data extraction tools and to create visualizations. And for me, I was like, oh, this I just completed in my master's because I just completed my master's program in business analysis, and it involved me using programming languages like SQL, R, Tableau, Python,
Excellent.
and I did a
Excellent.
lot of Power BI as well. So,
Okay.
these have helped me to create a lot of projects within it. And even in my past organization, I used Power BI to create
Okay.
some dashboards for reporting.
Okay.
So this made me.
Can you walk me through your, even if it's a school project, walk me through one of the most exciting ones you worked on with Power BI and Tableau. Just walk
So
me through one. Yeah.
So for Power BI, I'll give you an instance where in my former organization where we had a bit of monitoring to do. So usually on a day to day, the issue was we had challenges with knowing changes within the system, especially with our general ledgers. So I wanted a situation where, because what we were doing before was creating, running routines on SQL such
Yeah.
that the routines, we run it every day. But I wanted it to be that as we come into the office, as we are resuming, and then so that even management can see what's going on. So we needed to create a dashboard. So we use Power BI to create a dashboard. So our routines, we built it within Power BI and then created a dashboard that flashes what we need and whatever exceptions that roams in a day. So as you're coming in, you're seeing your reports immediately in a
Okay.
flash.
Okay. How savvy are you with data analytics in general? So if we want to automate the way we currently do our auditing and kind of structure it well, I mean, what would be some recommendation you provide for us?
So if you want to structure audit, so what are we saying? When we say audit, we are looking at your policies, we are looking at procedures. So these are things that we need to put together, and then these are within processes. So you look at the business process, and then you look at the technology that supports it, and then look
Yeah.
at the kind of data that gets generated from these technologies. Look at the data and then go back and then generate the write a routine, a
Okay.
procedure that will get this data, and then you can then use it to create reports that are that you don't need to keep running, because if they are repetitive tasks, you can just
Okay.
create a routine and keep
Okay.
running
So
it.
when we talk about creating those routine, is that something you're comfortable to do? So I'll give an example. So with us, so let's say we need to extract HR information from our SAP ERP solution, and we need someone to help with the extraction, to do some quick analytics, to tell us, okay, if there's a potential gap, if there are compliance issues, is that something you can potentially, take a lead on?
Yes, because within SAP has its own data analytics, and
Yeah.
so and it has some specific reporting that you can actually use to generate. So it's just a matter of putting the parameters necessary, and
Okay.
then making it to run on its own, and then you can generate your reports as you go.
Okay. If I ask you, Sean, what's your most proud moment as a data analytics person, what would that be for you? What would you say your most impactful project has been?
So I'll tell you for a fact that in my previous organization, based on how savvy I am and how quick I am to get things done, and just looking for ways to improve processes, I was able to give them over 100 process improvements initiatives, which up till today they were automated, and they are still running, and there are still reports that they are using, and those automations led to a lot of process efficiencies within the teams. It led to accurate reporting results and efficiency in the operation staff.
Okay. So when we talk about accurate efficiency of report, for example, how do you typically test for those accuracy in your report? How do you typically historically test for the accuracy of those reports in general?
So when you want to test for accuracy, so especially when we are in form of transformation business like this, so you are looking
Yeah.
at your inputs and your source data, and then you are looking at your destination data. So and then you are looking at, you want to be sure that whatever you put in, and then you want to look at the transformation process, and then look at the final output. That so you need to take a sample, and then you do a walkthrough within the process and test that okay, it is in line with your expectation before you then expand it to the entire data set that you need to work with.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. Somebody said, okay, love it, love it. Let's ask some question from other team members real quick. Um, let's see. Okay, excellent. All right. Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
Okay, so basically, the question I would like to know is, so if I get to be employed for this role, which I hope I will,
Yeah.
um, what will you call, what would be the critical success factor? How would you say, what would you term success for this
So
role?
for this, I mean, for this person to be successful, the key for us is process improvement. We like the fact you mentioned one of your highlights was helping to improve over 100 process and making the reporting efficiency, testing those reports and making them valuable to the organization. So I think that's a big one. For us, we need somebody that is a self-starter that can come in immediately to help us to be efficient with our processes immediately. So that would be a win, especially our security control processes, reporting processes in general, and to help our leadership make quicker decision in general. That would be a win for us.
Yeah, so you can be assured that you've got all that in me because I'm a fast learner and I'm one that is quick to get things done and always really high um, for improvements. And then I have my risk management mindset already. So it's not something that you need to start training me. I can get running from day one.
Excellent. Do you have any other question?
No, that's all.
All right. Excellent. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's give it up for Phil. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And this before I give Sean feedback real quick, just wanted to tell the house because of timing. I know most of us are within work time. The last person I just asked him graciously, I'm going to move him to tomorrow. So tomorrow we have one more, then maybe one more person might join. Because it's important we take time to give you guys feedback, right? So we're going to move him to tomorrow so that we don't take too long of your time, your working time. All right. So what do I think in general? Man, you are just amazing, Sean. You are very eloquent. Let me give some feedback of what I've seen here. Um, uh, okay, some questions that you were sorry I didn't see those questions early, but just for you to know. Anyway, let me give my own first feedback. Amazing, amazing communicator. You have a presence immediately. Your lighting was good. I like it. It's very bold. I like it. You framed yourself. All of us remember. Maybe I'm teaching you guys photography now, right? Framing is important, right? Be in the middle. Look at your camera and try to be in the middle, right? Move your chairs around so you can see she's well framed. She's in the middle. So it's kind of brought her presence out, which is good. I like the way. So it's important. Like I said, cosmetic might you might think it's not important. It's a big deal, right? Because it shows the presence of the person with you guys. She looks like she genuinely wants the job. She's very, she's a passive aggression like, hey, I want this. I'm the guy, I'm the lady, right? I'm just the person. So you could see the presence is there, definitely. Our knowledge base is very good, definitely. Now, one thing I want to make sure you get right is I need you to go create 3 projects for me on using Power BI, on using SQL, on using any of the tools you worked in school, right? Tableau, Power BI, you must be able to tell me 3. If I ask you that, okay, walk me through a project. And the beautiful thing is that you can simulate them even if you don't make it because you know how to use it already. Your school project, just simulate it to be relevant to audit efficiency, control efficiency, and make it your story because you can do it already. You've done it in your master program. Stimulate that ready to go. If I ask that question, as a matter of fact, you must make it part of your conversation so that people will know because the role is very heavy on data. I like the way you told me 100 process improvement. Maybe you don't want to use 100, you might say over 25 process improvement, right? 100 is quite ambitious, right? That's a lot of stuff.
But it's for real, oh, trust me.
Oh,
For real.
really?
Yeah, for real.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go 100
So,
then.
so I gave you a window.
Yeah.
It's not 1 year. It's not 3 years.
Okay. Okay. So you can say
So it's a
historically
cumulatively. Yeah,
cumulatively historically over 100 process improvement. Okay, that's
yeah.
fair. If it's for real, go all in, Shil. I'm with you on that. Okay. But for me, if I hear 100, I say, whoa, okay, this is a superstar. which is, but it's for real. So stick with it. That's awesome because you can execute it in real time. But when we talk about those other tools, because I saw they were heavy on analytics and Power BI and all that, make sure you can give me a good story to go immediately. Okay, very important because
Yeah.
if you do that, man, I'm just so sold. Now, the leadership part, be ready, right? Now they will start asking you, what's your leadership style? How do you mentor your team? How do you build a team? Those ones are soft skills. I'm sure you'll be fine with those. Just let them know people first culture, open communication culture, um, genuine feedback early on. You set expectation early on, and you push your team to be successful, and just the basic things to help others to be successful, right? So that I'll defer to you to do your magic. Okay. Let me see somebody else. Let's see some other comments. Somebody said, let me show you this comment. She knows her job, you are hired. Okay. Hey, I support that. I want that too. That is the goal for me. My team, I want everybody hired. That's the goal. I mean, look, man, we are realistic. We know we have to put the work, and that's why we put time to do this, ladies and gentlemen. Even if it's not convenient, I know it's midday. Always show up if you have the time, just listening. And if you don't have the time, listening later. These are huge, huge interview. I learned so much from you all, really, and from Sheon. She's a wealth of experience, and it's just amazing. I think she will get the job for sure. Now, because of that, I'll still give you our grade. Let's see. Let's give her a grade. Okay. Remember, if you come to Alliance, then I think the highest I ever gave someone was a 6. We never give more than 5 most times. But let's see what we got for Sharon today. Let's put the grade for her. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Okay, for Sharon today. Let's see. I would go with a 5 for sure. I'll go with a 5. I'll go with a 5. So let's give it up for Sharon. Let's give it up for her. And some comments here just to show you. People say great job. Somebody said great job 5. Sandra, great job 5. So I mean, honestly, I feel you are really sound. And for me, it's very. I could tell the infection. You have your energy is so infectious. So and everybody, I'll challenge you. Sometimes you want to call it fake it, whatever you want to call it, but make your when you're doing interview, be all in. Be let me feel she was so energetic that I feel like I was almost telling her, I'm not the real interviewer, okay? But she was really, you could tell she was really sold. She was just in. She wants this job. And I love that. And life is all about energy, really. So thank you so much. That was great. I love it. Without any further ado, I know we've spent 1 hour. Thank you all for being part of this. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow because I have somebody here. I don't want to just bring them without having to do justice to them. If you have time, jump tomorrow. We'll have probably 2 more people tomorrow. We'll just do it together. A few of you also asked me about the upcoming program we have that is coming up on Saturday. For that is straightforward, folks. Those of you that have been part of our community already, you know how what the drill is. It's a 5 weekend program. This time around, we decided to add a fifth week because of we have a solution partner we use right now. Um, Risk Rhino, we bring them on board. They train us in GRC solution also. Everything people are interviewing for here, most of them will cover in our program. It's 5 weekends. Within the 5 weekends, be open-minded. It's going to be a lot of work. You hold us accountable by making sure we teach you the right thing, risk assessment, mapping of different framework, third-party risk, data privacy, assessment and governance, foundation of IT general controls, business continuity, regulation like EPA, GDPR. Then we do the training on the GRC solution. In the next 6 weeks of your life also, you might be the person on the hot seat in our Lions Den. So that's all. Share with other people. We look forward to having folks around. Please show up tomorrow also for the other 2 folks because we can't get to them today. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day. God bless. Talk soon, everybody. Bye. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thank you all. Thank you, Kenny. And thank you, Sean, for making it. Thank you.